So today we are going to talk about prosperity because I'm on fire with this author this is now the second book of hers I'm reading. You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Anybody know this? Okay, I find her to be a riot. If you are of tender, if your ears are tender. You might not want to read it or listen to it. I happen to be listening to it on tape also because she loves her expletives. You know, she's kind of like me, but on fire, on steroids. So, but prosperity is such an important and big conversation, especially in New Thought communities, because we play on the edge of it very often, and we don't really embrace it, and we have lots of judgments about it. So even with these photos here, you might immediately have opinions about these photos. You know, you might have opinions. Anybody here catch yourself saying, oh, so-and-so is filthy rich? Have you ever used that? Yeah, I used to use that. And yet what a horrific judgment that is. You know, who knows what that person is going through? Who knows? So to use the idea that someone is filthy rich is really a judgment. And yet we sometimes, some of us, look at richness and we judge ourselves like, no, I just want to be kind and I want to do good in the world and I want to save the planet. I got news for you. You could do a lot more of that with a lot more money in your pocket than you can do as being poor. So maybe this is what's important to you. Maybe a sense of generosity. Maybe a sense of bringing goodness and love and possibility to people, to the lives of individuals. I'm here to tell you, you could still do a lot more of that with a lot more money in your pocket. Being poor does not empower others. You're almost obligated, if you're really embracing yourself as a potent metaphysician, you're really almost responsible to be more in that way. I shouldn't really tell you this story because it's a little embarrassing. My son was horrified, but I'll tell you anyway because I don't really care. I come home last week and Neil says to me, here, you got a check from the government. And I opened the check, and I totally had forgotten about it. It was a tax return from 2014. A nice return from 2014. So why should I be embarrassed? My son thinks because I forgot that it was due to me. Totally forgot all about it. But my first thought is, wow, what I can do. And it wasn't what I could do for me. It was the first thought is, wow. And so I know one of the things that I'm going to do with the money from that is as the outside of our meditation space becomes the outdoor meditation space, I'm buying a water feature. And I thought, I wanted it to have water feature. So I'm going to buy and donate a water feature to the center. But every time I get paid and every time I make more money and every time anything happens, my first thought is, wow, I get to tithe. I'm not trying to convince you to be tithers. Don't lose the message in that. But for me, that feeling that I immediately have more to give grows me all the time. So we do have this book in the bookstore, and I really recommend it. Again, not if you have gentle ears, okay? Wallace Wattles said, whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains, that's the wrong letter, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. Now, rich can be qualified if you're making $20,000 a year. For rich, maybe $50,000 a year is rich for you. Maybe you have a desire to make $500,000 a year. I judge not what it is you want to make. But are you happy with what you're doing? And if not, are you willing to change what you're doing to create that increase? Not only so that you can be more and be more joyful and have greater experience, but to then be the cause in someone else's expansion. See, you and we're not here alone. We're here as a community. And so it's important that when we are moving in a direction of possibility in our lives, that we take someone with us. It might be a family member, it might be a lover, or just a friend or a neighbor. But when you begin to gift someone, when you begin to be possibility for someone, your own possibility grows because you can't give what you don't got. Forgive the English. You know what I'm saying. You can't give it away unless you have first owned it. And so, I mean, I don't like to see people struggle. So there are sometimes you give, and then sometimes, though, you invite them to give to themselves and you invite them up to a higher way of being. It's not always about just giving over money. But what is absolutely, absolutely critical is that you identify your why. You must identify why. I have known what it's like to have nothing. Anybody else know that in your life experience? I'm talking about waking up, not really having enough food in the fridge. I'm talking about going to the store and putting food on that damn thing and then not having enough money. And I knew that more than one time. I had this precious woman, young woman. I do not remember her name. I was living in Florham Park at the time. And you don't want to live in Florham Park without enough money. It could be humiliating was what I was thinking. And so this young girl, she worked there. I ran out of money, and she paid for the rest of my bill. I had an older lady one time. Now, I was younger. This is 20 years ago, so she was probably my age now, actually, but maybe a little bit older, and handed me a check that I eventually paid back to her. But I've known this experience more than once, and it was not spiritual. It was not wonderful. There was nothing wonderful about not having enough. And so I had to raise my sense of enoughness over time, which as a spiritual community, we seem to get caught up and think that it has something to do with being worthy. It doesn't. You were worthy the day you were born. All of you, the day you were born, you were worthy enough. No, none of that has to be improved. It does, however, have to be accepted. And that's through your words. That's through your inner dialogue. Can you repeat after me now? I accept my good and my greater good.
I accept my good and my greater good.
I am worthy of all my good.
I am worthy of all my good.
And then you cease judging, because sometimes that sparks something. Did it spark something in anyone's head? Because sometimes it does. Sometimes you have a measurement that's going on. You got to catch those miscellaneous little thoughts. They're like little tiny demons in your brain. You got to get hold of them. But your why is imperative. For me, my why has to do with my children, my grandchildren. It has to do with the center. It has to do with me wanting to leave this world better than when I arrived in it. So for me, when I first started attending my first Science of Mind community, I gave a little bit of money. Sometimes I didn't have much. Sometimes it was crinkled, and I was embarrassed. And sometimes it didn't have to do with how worthy I thought the community was. I was feeling very small. So over time, it had to grow for me. It's not an automatic overnight thing. I had to grow into it. The first time, and I've told you this before, I took my first prosperity class. And in that prosperity class, we had to commit to tithing. And that was a serious, serious stretch. But I learned that I could live off of 90%. And I learned that my first 10%, and this is a philosophical thing. Again, get the concept, not the title. So for me, it meant that I was constantly delivering into the mind of consciousness that I had enough. Because if I could give that meant I had enough. And I've lived now for my enoughness for all these years. But I had to grow that. So here's the thing. If you want to live an increase, you're going to want to figure out how, but, your how how you got where you are. So you can't come from your how. It is this where you want to be? Do you want to be in the how? See, it's your current how that got you here. It's your current thinking that got you here. In order to create increase, you have to cease understanding or thinking about how. Remember, back in the day, there was a days you could look under a car, you could recognize a carburetor, you could recognize spark plugs, you could recognize things, and you kind of could identify what was going on. Anybody who had car mechanics in school, I was one of those people. Nowadays, what? Wait, where's the carburetor? I get that it's different. I really do understand that. But the point is, you and I have to let go of the how. You get into your car, do you think about how every time you get in it? You don't. You turn the key. You take lots of things for granted. You have faith in the mechanical, don't you? When you flip that light switch, you expect it to go on. Yes? When you put your envelope in the mailbox, you expect it to be delivered, don't you? When you what? No, I won't try to do that. When you wash your clothes, you know the clothes. Well, no, we just recently had to replace a washing machine. That might not be it, but most times it works. See, believe it or not, that's a level of faith. You might not be thinking of it as that, but you have faith that light switch will put that light on. That delivery person will deliver your mail. You have faith that your car will turn on. But however, it is imperative for you not to think of how, but to think of what. Because unless you've grown your consciousness around how, you're going to try to pull who you were into your current time decision making. Are you hearing me? You can't try to be new with pulling old into it. Because that old is filled with limited ideas. It's filled with fear, and it's filled with doubt, and it's filled with the things that makes you want to climb out. You got to practice suspending how. You must suspend the how. And that was the exercise that I was doing when I came home that night to find that check. I was in the midst of exercising my consciousness through my faith and through my prayer and through who I was being. And I walk in, there was a mighty thumbs up from the universe. A mighty thumbs up, which is a lovely thing. What do? Declare. Declare what it is that you want, while you remember the why. To want money for money alone is kind of empty. If you know anybody who wants money because they want the name on the side of a building, that's kind of empty. And they might have enough money and they might get their name on the side of the building, but unless it's from a place of a grand high idea, they will always feel hungry for more. If your desire for increase is not out of a profound love for humanity in a grander way, you're always going to want for more because it will never feed you. You will never feel deeply satisfied. Do you understand? Who you are being affects everything. Everything. So give, and give generously, and give with love, and give with enthusiasm. But give from your overflow. Give from your fullness. Give from there, and that will propagate greater flow, and more currency, and more prosperity, and more generosity in your life. But you begin by declaring what it is you want. Then set your intention. Set the intention to be that. Maybe you've been wanting to write a book. Maybe you've been wanting to write a play. Maybe you've been wanting to have a new business. It doesn't matter. You could sell those new fidgets. Well, like someone said on Facebook, we had clackers. Remember clackers? And those could knock somebody out. At least the fidgets aren't dangerous. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. If somewhere in your heart you feel expressed, please say yes to yourself. Say yes to the presence of God within you. Say yes to that. And move into that dance of co-creation. What fun is that? And get your judgments out of the way. Stop judging yourself for wanting more. Anybody do that? Anybody think, oh, you know, I'm not spiritual enough because I want money? It's not tied together except in your thinking. I know lots of well-off spiritual people that are doing well in this life. Deeply spiritual, generous, loving, beautiful people. And they got nice money. Lovely. Let's be that. Identify a possibility partner. Now, this is different than a prayer partner. Now, your prayer partner can also be your possibility partner. But when I say a possibility partner, I'm referring to someone who's willing to hold you accountable. The not-so-nice person that says, you said you were going to do this on this day. Did you get it ready? Maybe it's a business plan. Did you get your business plan in order? Did you get your pictures taken? Did you get the website up? Did you reach out to so-and-so? Someone who's not going to let you slip and slide and be so nice to let you play small. So a possibility partner is like a prayer partner, but not nice. Not so nice. You get what I'm saying? Identify someone and partner with someone to hold each other up to the highest possible standards. And reach for someone who's already doing something well. You don't want to necessarily partner with someone who's not. All right? Because what kind of influence would that be? Okay. So a possibility partner is an accountability partner. Now here's a big one. I want you to open your mind and heart to this one. Fall in love with money. Love money. What happens? My grandchildren. I love them madly, deeply, crazy in love with my grandchildren. So of course they want to be in my space. Sometimes my granddaughter, and now I dress specifically for this purpose, I'll wear a very, very large T-shirt, and when I see her on Tuesdays, she loves to do this thing. She likes to crawl under the T-shirt so she could be flesh on flesh, and then I'll just sit there and hold her for 5 or 10 minutes. She like that. Because when you love something, it comes to you. You judge it, it moves away. You love it, it comes. You love your dogs, your cats, they come to you. It's not dirty. It's not evil. It's not wrong. And you're not wrong for wanting it. Am I heard? Yes. You're not wrong for wanting more. You can do more in this world, in this center, in your family. I would love to know that suddenly you came from whatever it is to twice or 3 times. Why? Because then that's how you're going to show up in the world. That much more. Cease judging. Cease judging. Cease judging. Your desire, and I've been saying this came from my spiritual teacher when she was still alive a long time ago. And I haven't heard anyone else mention this until Jen in her book and on the book on tape that I'm listening to. Desire, it means of the Father. Take away the Father piece, of the Creator. What that means is the things that you feel like you're desiring. You have this idea, many of you probably, you have this idea that you're desiring something that's not yours. or that you're desiring something you don't deserve, or that you're desiring something outside of you. I'm here to tell you that that desire was placed inside of you. It is your self-expression. Matter of fact, you are honoring God when you honor your desires, because that is your expression. Are you hearing me? So we have to cease judging that piece of us that sometimes, and I have struggled with this myself, to cease judging, wanting to be more fully expressed because there's money attached to it. No. Your desire is God's desire for you to be fully expressed. Are you hearing me? Is that okay? Yes. So, repeat after me again, if you will. I love money.
I love money.
And money loves me. I serve humanity through being rich. Through my richness, I give and give again. Through my prosperity, I am fully expressed. How does that feel? How does that feel? Because your feeling is required. The feeling, like, just think to yourself, wow, imagine, so follow me for a second. Imagine never again thinking about a bill. Imagine never again concerning yourself if your car breaks down, replace it. Your washing machine breaks down, replace it. You have a family member that's in need, and you can help, and you're able to help. Imagine that. Get that feeling in your bones. Something that feels like that can't be bad. You with me? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's stand today, and let's treat on this. It is with great enthusiasm that I declare that the power and the presence of the one loving one is present here today in this room, in this moment, in this prayer, in this word that has been spoken. I speak this word for everyone here and everyone who hears this word on the podcast, on the video, anywhere. I declare that as of today, any ideas, any doubt, any fear, any belief in lack are now neutralized and cast out. I declare for each one of us that we are able to move beyond our current how into the possibility of more. I declare that we give ourselves permission to be in the joy of this, to be in the joy of possibility, to be in the joy of prosperity, to love our lives the way our lives get expressed because we are light. Dear God, to feel that lightness that comes with fullness and more, that comes with being prosperously alive. Let us know this experience. Let us give from this experience. Let us allow that for ourselves, for the individuals that we love, and let us be the cause of this in someone else's life. I charge you with causing possibility in someone else's life. Believe in them. Say the words that they are capable and that they are worthy. Look in their eyes and see the eyes of one who is alive and worthy of good and greater good, as I see in your eyes. So even as we complete this treatment today, Let's, before we sit down, look around and in great silence, feeling that feeling inside. Let us look into the eyes of our community members and believe in them. Believe in their possibility, believe in their potentiality, and believe in each of them as deserving the highest experience of prosperity possible. I am infinitely grateful for this movement of mind and heart. I surrender this word, and please close it with me with a rousing, and so it is.